Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and I got an absolute ridiculous video for you. Top 10 ridiculouses, if you get what I'm saying. All right, that joke didn't work. That didn't land. My name is Taco. I do a Song of Ice and Fire lore normally, but today I'm just gonna screw off. I noticed in the Song of Ice and Fire lore that there are a lot of characters named Dick, and I also noticed that there are a lot of characters named Dickon, and I also guess I don't care about monetization this time. Oh man, this is such a bad idea. But I wanted a fun, light-hearted video, so I came up with the top 10 dicks and dickons from the Song of Ice and Fire lore. And the second I took that selfie, I knew it was money. So good. I thought I was going for like laughing, like ha ha ha. But you know, it ended up looking like something else. I had to keep it. All right, so I don't really have too much of a criteria here. A lot of these characters, Dickons and Dicks, have like one thing they did, or they're essentially just a name, and it's really hard to go with. So I had to decide what was more important, what wasn't, and at the end of the day, I kind of just went with vibes, because there are characters that definitely have done more than other ones and have more about them that I just don't like, and I think they suck as characters, so that kind of knocks them down. And then there are other ones that like are super important to the world, but I don't find them super fun to read about or very interesting or pivotal for chapters. So a lot of this is kind of it's hard for me to come up with an actual criteria. So if you're watching and you're like, well, those don't make sense, remember, this is the thumbnail you clicked on. Shut up, man. Just shut your brain up. Let's talk about some big old honking Dickons and Dicks. So starting number 10 at Dickon Morgan. So this guy had just enough to make it on the list. So he was alive during the conquest, right? And he fought in the last storm with good old Argilac, the arrogant Durandon. So if you guys don't remember this is Aegon the First Conquest. So him and his sister wives gather a little bit of support. They start taking on stuff. When the first people they go fight are, well, not all of them, but I want to say Meraxes and Orys Baratheon head down to fight Argilac Durandon. And this big fight's called the Last Storm. So since House Morgan is from the Stormlands, they're fighting on the side of Argilac, right? So good old Dickon here is fighting on the side of Argilac. And during the battle, Dickon and the Bastard of Blackhaven were slain by Dragonfire of Meraxes. I got to work on talking. I am struggling hardcore. That's just interesting enough to get on the list. Slim pickings for these slim Dickons. What are you doing, Mark? All right. So yeah, he got killed by a dragon. Like, that's kind of it. There are Dickons and Dicks that didn't make it on the list. And I guess I thought getting killed by a dragon is just interesting enough. The first few are just like, did they have anything I care about? No, not really. Is there anything interesting? Something small? And let's keep going with that, because we got Dickon Flowers, who's the Bastard of Beesbury. Being the Bastard of Beesbury is already cool, because I like House Beesbury a lot. But he's just a tad more interesting. He was a member of the Warrior Sons, and he fought in Maegor the Cruel's Trial of Seven. And that's not much. I find being killed by Maegor a tad more fun than a dragon, I guess. I mean, more people were killed by dragons than Maegor himself. More people were killed by Maegor's dragon than Maegor himself. So maybe that's a little more interesting. And I literally have 2 characters on this list that were in that trial of 7, which I think is hilarious. So yeah, all right, let's talk about the example I was giving where it's like a very big character compared to these other ones who are just tiny little characters I plucked out of the Song of Ice and Fire lore. This guy's, you know, actually in the main books, and he's got some stuff. He's got enough about him. I actually made a video about him kind of recently, but he just sucks. I don't want to give him any cred because he's freaking Yellow Dick. Oh, Yellow Dick. Yeah, like I said, I've done a video for this pile of garbage, so look there if you want more information. I'm not going to talk about him too much. He's a bastard boy for a house Bolton, and he stands out for 2 reasons. He had scrofula, which is an infection in your neck that gives you large sores on like your neck from your lymph nodes, right? And he is murdered in Winterfell in a completely messed up manner. So yeah, he is a bigger character than many on this list, but he kind of sucks, so he didn't make it very far. Yeah, that's it. I couldn't really justify putting him over characters that aren't complete pieces of crap, so he stayed low. Fletcher Dick is my number 7. This guy is fun. I like all the members of the Kingswood Brotherhood, and that's where this guy's from, and their Robin Hood vibes. He was famous for his bow skills, and he taught Ulmer of the Kingswood, which is sweet. So he's in who is now teaching the Night's Watch. So that's fun. So like kind of by not by proxy, would it be by proxy or like down the line? What am I looking for? Degrees of separation. Fletcher Dick is now teaching the entirety of the Night's Watch because the guy who he taught Ulmer of the Kingswood is now. Now we got a very, very similar name. Instead of Fletcher Dick, we got Beardless Dick, just a dick without a beard. It was hard to pick who I like more between Beardless Dick and Fletcher, but Beardless Dick slight edges him out. His name is just great. He needs to be sponsored by Manscaped. Should I state right now, if I ever get any type of sponsorship and doing quality content like this, I don't know why I'm not. If I ever get a Manscaped sponsorship, the next character I cover will be Beardless Dick, just so you guys know. Beardless Dick is a part of the Brotherhood Without Banners, and we see him later with Lady Stoneheart's group, and that's it. Yeah, he's just slightly more interesting. I don't know why. It was hard to just like Kingswood Brotherhood Without Banners. Maybe because Beardless Dick's a funnier name than Fletcher. And you know what? Going off my next one, sometimes it's the name. That's all you need. Because number 5 is Dick on Manwoody. Yeah, just Dick on Manwoody. Best name in the entire list. Maybe number 1 kind of is great too. And that pretty much is all he got. That got him in the top 5 all by itself. Because his name is Dick on Manwoody. I am a child. In fact, we know very little about him. All we know is that he was part of the entourage of Oberyn Martell and the second son of Dagos Manwoody. I just fell in love with the Manwoodies, and it's a great name. I do love the Manwoodies. They are one of my favorite like houses, especially in Dorne. All right, moving on. Like I said earlier, we had one guy who fought against Maegor in the Trial of 7. Now we got somebody who fought for him. And he was the first guy to volunteer, and that is Dick Bean. Now we're talking. Now this isn't characters I have to. All right, now we're at the part of the list where it's like, no, these guys, they earn their spots. They're not just like, oh, some random dudes now, man. Dick Bean. Now we're talking. I love Dick Bean. Dick Bean was a man-at-arms in the service of House Targaryen in 42 AC, and he was on the other side of Maegor the Cruel's Trial of 7. Dick was the first to answer Maegor's call to those who stood beside him, shaming many knights and noble lords into answering Maegor's summons, leaving Benar Brune to say the great line, "This Bean shames us all. Are there new true knights here? No leal men?" Why did he have to go with Bean? It would have been so great if he said, "This Dick shames us all." It would have been way better. Good old Dick shaming. Just so good. It's such a good line. Never mind the fact that Dick Bean dies first, slain by Lyle Bracken, just right away. He's like, why don't we fight for the king? And it's like, let's go. Like, oh no, Dick Bean down. What am I doing in my life? All right, number 3, Dickon Tarley. Little Dickon Tarley is probably the most important Dickon to the main story. Definitely most important Dickon, I think, not the most important Dick, arguably, because I think number 1 is just a better character. But well, I think both these guys are. But when it comes to importance to the story and actually moves the plot, it might be, you could argue, number 1, but like, I don't know, man. Dickon Tarley is pretty important. Unlike his show version, we don't see much of him at all. But he is pivotal in Samuel Tarley's story, since Dickon is already a better heir at a super young age, and their crappy dad boots Samuel to the wall so Dickon can be the heir to Horn Hill. Sure, it's not fun. Like, this isn't as fun as Dick Bean, but Samuel going to the wall is a huge thing for the main story, right? It's very important. And yeah, I mean, if you want to be like, oh, and those scenes in the show with Bronn laughing at his name, I mean, I can't call it immature, childish humor because I'm currently making this video. But yeah, that's probably why most people know the name Dickon is Dickon Tarley. So yeah, but we still got 2 left. Count them, 2. And number 2 is Deaf Dick Follard. If you haven't gone through Jon Snow's chapters lately, especially in the defense of Castle Black, you need to know Deaf Dick is fantastic. He is on the roof of the King's Tower with Jon Snow and Satin as the Feds attack, and these 3 make such a great trio. He is deaf, but he can read lips, and he has a keen nose, and is a great shot with a crossbow. Also, to a lesser extent, I just think House Follard is cool. Yeah, House Follard's really cool. They got like the cool jester hat up in the corner. All right. You guys probably know who number 1 is. I have not been secretive about my love for this character. There are many people in the fandom and other creators who love this character. And yeah, he's one of my favorites. And if you want to say, like, if I want to rank my favorite character who isn't a POV character or anything like that, who's really high up there, and especially like just for a couple chapters, you got to go NimbleDick Crabb as your number 1. I love NimbleDick. No one is surprised. Yeah, not even close. This is without question. I love NimbleDick. Easily one of my favorite characters in the lore. To his manner of speech, to his ghost stories about Clarence Crabb's talking heads and the Squishers, and his relationship with Brienne. It's so good. At first, she doesn't treat him, not giving him the sword and keeping her distance when they are traveling together, just to hear a secret freaking voice convince her that she needs to use the magic sword, and then she gives the sword to him, and her, like, at the end, her respect for him is huge, and after he dies, she tosses the gold that she owes him into his grave. The story is just great. I could and have talked about NimbleDick forever. Easily takes a place as my favorite Dick. Yeah, in the story. So, yeah, thank you for wasting your time watching such a goofy video. I hope you enjoyed it. And please tell me in the comments your favorite Dick from the Song of Ice and Fire lore. All right, come on, guys. Jeez, Neville don't send me any pictures of them. All right. I wonder if anyone saw the thumbnail and didn't read the Song of Ice and Fire lore part. And it's like, is this guy just checking out? Just checking out man meat? No. I study literature. All right, thank you guys for watching. Please click like, subscribe, share this if you want. Should have wasted this on an April Fool's, but instead I'm just using that. No, I shouldn't have wasted it now. I probably should have saved this for an April Fool's video. But now, man, you know, when you want to talk about Dickons, nothing can stop you. All right, I'm going to leave it there. You guys have a good one. Peace.